Best Discord confessions that can make you question humanity. My GF sister. Remorse. If you feel bad. I've been dating my girlfriend for a while now. I spend a lot of time at her place, and we regularly cook food, sometimes from scratch on a weekly basis. Our relationship has hit a rocky patch when I caught her talking to someone else behind my back and setting up a meeting, but because nobody went through with anything though I confronted her when she showed up, we decided to try to work it out. She's essentially been on probation with me ever since. About a month ago her sister and her husband separated and she came to live with my GF temporarily. They share a bedroom with both of their beds in it. The sister is a high-powered professional who makes quite a bit of money and does something very prestigious for a living. Her sister is aware of my GF's thwarted affair. Recently I was browsing the web when I saw a picture of my GF's sister. She was fully clothed, but it seemed somehow provocative. I went down the rabbit hole and checked to see where it would lead me. 3 sex tapes and 5 albums of fully nude photos later, and I had gotten to know quite a bit more about my GF's sister than I was probably comfortable with. I pushed the knowledge aside and decided to keep the knowledge to myself. But that didn't stop me from masturbating to it and saving the link. This week we had pizza night, and I came over before my GF got home to start on hand making our crust. After putting the pizzas in the oven I had some time to kill, so I sat down on the couch. My GF sister sat down with me and we started talking. Right away she could tell that something was off with the way that I was acting. She started asking me questions, and I could tell that she was trying to figure out what it was. Out of the blue she dropped a reference to something that she had done in one of her albums. She mentioned something about sitting on a washing machine. I must have blushed while giving my very awkward answer because she broke out into a great big smile. She knew. She then asked me an odd question. Did I like pink or purple? I was a bit confused by the question, but I said purple. She said okay, then went off about her business. My GF got home a few minutes later and we finished the pizza, ate it, then went out to see a movie. Came home and found that her sister was gone, so we had a quickie before I went back to my place. So I was browsing the internet and found myself back on the site where the videos and pics had been posted that evening. There was a new video titled Thinking of You. My GF's sister smiles, blows her webcam a kiss, and lays back on my GF's bed before pulling out a very large purple dildo. She then puts on a very enthusiastic performance with said dildo. Friday we're having dinner again, and I'll be at the apartment alone with her sister for over an hour. I can't promise I won't fuck her.
I had sex with my teacher for grades. I had got bad grades in a test. My teacher told that if I want to improve my grades then I have to give another test. She called me in her cabin and gave me an answer booklet and told that she will give me the question paper in some minutes. She came back after a few minutes and she was half undressed and started kissing me. I was shocked and disgusted with this and I wanted to stop her. She said if I do what she wants then I will get full grades in the test. I could not believe this and I went in flow with her and gave what she wanted. My virginity and my self-respect. Now I am disgusted with myself and not able to face her. I got full grades but I am not happy with that. My mom's dirty secret.
My mom spilled a secret when she was drunk and she will never know I still take advantage of it to this day. It's 3 in the morning and I felt the need to confess my darkest secret to you Redditors. No one knows this about me, but now all of you will. Please cut me some slack as I try to piece together this confusing mess of my story. When I was the fine age of just 11 years old, my dearest of aunts came for a visit for the first time. Her name was Aunt Flo. Some of you are getting it and some of you are not, so let me clarify. Barely getting into my double digits, I became another bleeding woman of society ready to reproduce. I sound bitter, I know, but by being forced to mature hormonally could have definitely waited until I was at least out of elementary school. That would have been nice. Alas, I was the youngest of 4 siblings in a boy-girl pattern, which meant I was destined to be the spoiled princess. Let me just say this before I get into my confession, and remember this, I was raised in a rather fortunate house where I wasn't abused in any way and loved wholeheartedly. I do not take for granted the things that were scrounged up by my parents and the sacrifices that they made individually for each of us. However, I have the slightest resentment towards my mother because her consumption of alcohol when I was younger and how I reacted towards it. Mom wasn't a violent drunk, never has been, and today I would say she was a funny drunk. But back then, in my childhood, she was different. I didn't like that. I couldn't handle another spontaneous change in life that was just thrown on me like puberty had been. There were no warnings, maybe the failure start of health education for elementary students, but I didn't know how to prepare even if there was any. I really didn't notice her change in personality at first, but when it became more frequent and totally different to what I was used to, that was when I paid attention. The strongest memory I have of her other personality is when one night she called me into her room to talk to my sister and me. When I walked in the room, the stench of what thought was rubbing alcohol burned my nostrils and put me almost immediately on guard. She was waving around an interesting-looking glass that I learned later was cleverly called a wine glass and jabbering away about her toy box. She looked drained of all energy and just loopy. Like she had no cares in the world and that what she was holding and her story were the best things ever. Because I wasn't a complete idiot, I pieced together what she was drinking when she mixed some type of clear liquid that definitely didn't smell like water from where I was standing, with Pepsi, and taking a big swig out of it before lulling back into her dream state of happiness. It seemed my sister and I realized what was going on at the same time, since we exchanged glances and started trying to sober our mom up in the limited way we knew how. At first, we tried asking her simple questions like about colors or our birthdays. She was so out of it by then that it was near impossible to sober her up, so we thought maybe her thinking really by telling us a story would somehow wake her out of this ridiculous state. Nope. But she did actually give me a way to release all of my tension from my hormonal prison called puberty. Mom walked to the other side of the small bedroom and heaved a yellow toolbox onto her waterbed. Now this was a literal toolbox. You know, when you would see on Tool Time. Instead, this is what my mother insisted as her toy box, because inside it contained all of her toys. Yes, you got it. Sex toys. She opened it up and on the inside was like the gathering of the type of pleasure bringers I had seen in commercials during late night TV. She tried telling us the names of them with her obvious drunken lisp, and when I watched her get to that point of carelessness, I think I broke a little inside. Here a grown-ass woman was showing her 11 and 14-year-old daughters her vibrators and dildos. I know now as I type this that a lot of respect for her was lost and will never to be recovered. Though in my resolve, I forgive her for it, because she found her own temporary escape from the stressors of her world back then, and if she didn't, I really think she would have given up. Just that blackout drunk night, along with a handful of other times she did this in my presence, was able to keep her sane. I worried for a while as I was growing up if she would become addicted to her releases, if she would slip away from the family because she couldn't handle the face of reality, and never return to the mother I so greatly adored. Point is, those toys in that box sated a lot of my urges that I had, and they weren't all sexual either. I had many unexplainable emotional troubles that I made disappear with those toys until I had the actual maturity to do something about it. I later found out at 15 that I suffered from clinical depression and Graves' disease. The endocrinologist pretty much put the blame on the fact that I hit puberty so early in life. He never said it in words, but he didn't have to. All the facts pointed to it, and when he finally did something about it, radioactive iodine for example, I was finally able to be myself without some looming ghost of depression around me. I was free. And as I grew older and the medicine that helps grows bigger with me, I still found myself sneaking around to dig up her hiding spots. Didn't your mom ever teach you that sharing is caring? Mom drunkenly showed me her sex toys as a young woman who hit puberty too early for her own good. Use toys as a release of multiple uses of the word tension. I secretly hunt for her hiding spots she uses now instead of the toy box, so I can still get my own use out of them when I am alone at her house.
I cheated on my wife 8 years ago while we were still dating. I have no regrets. I met my wife about 8-9 years ago when I was 24 years old. We fell for each other near instantly and became near inseparable after our first date. I knew that she was an amazing woman and had many great wife material qualities early in the relationship. The only problem was that my wife was the 4th woman I had ever slept with, compared to me being like her 12th. LOL. I had always been in LTRs before her savants. After a few months of dating, this started to bother me. I had really wanted to be single for a bit and have some fun and get some of my own experience. But now that I was in this amazing relationship, I didn't want to lose her over something seemingly so small. So I cheated. For about 6 months I had to go out to different cities on business for my job during the week. During these 6 months I'd go out to bars by myself, and occasionally managed to bring a woman back to my hotel room. I did this with 15 different women. I always gave these women fake numbers so they couldn't contact me again in some bullshit story. Never saw a single of them again either. Nobody ever found out, because I didn't tell a soul. Not my best friends, my brother, no one. After those 6 months, straightened up again and became the perfect boyfriend and eventually husband. We've had an amazing relationship and marriage and have 2 beautiful kids. I don't regret a thing. If I hadn't done what I did, our relationship would have likely ended eventually and we'd both missed out on the amazing lives we have right now. Girlfriend's mother is a MILF. I have a confession that I need to get off my chest. I'm currently dating a wonderful girl for the past 2 years. The thing is, whenever we have sex, I imagine myself doing her mother. Her mother was a model, and despite her now older age, she has kept her appearance up pretty well. I find myself so attracted to her. One night I went over to my girlfriend's place after work to hang out. When I got there, her mother was there. My girlfriend was running late due to having to stay late at work. As you all might expect from this story, I hung out with my girlfriend's mother where we talked, had a couple of drinks, and one thing led to another. Not before long, my penis was in her and I was riding her from behind. We had sex all over the apartment, all while my girlfriend was still at work. That very night had sex with my girlfriend, but I kept fantasizing about her mother. I'm a terrible person. I go through women's panty drawers any chance I get. I'm a pretty sneaky fucker. If I'm in a woman's home to work or friend's home, friend's girlfriends or wife, friend's sisters, or just about anyone. But only if they are attractive. If they're wearing leggings and I see a panty line, you bet your ass I will be snooping for clean or dirty panties. If I have the opportunity to masturbate into them, I will do that as well and leave them where I found them. But I'll leave a heavy load of pecker snot in them. Yeah, it's a fucking disgusting thing to do and I know that, but that's how I do it. I'm sure most guys would do the same thing if they could. Like, share, and subscribe and send your confession at unfocal108@gmail.com.